Hey, welcome back, guys. Today I'm going to be doing a coding session with 2019 BMW X5 40i, which is essentially a six-cylinder SUV. So one of my friends recently got it, and it's I think about 2,000 or 2,500 miles on it. So I wanted to do a quick review on it. It is not M Sport. I believe this is an X-Line package, but even with being a base or X-Line, I think it's very well decked out from the standard, which is something I guess I've not been seen with BMW. Every single features you have to pay extra, a lot more extra than I expected in 2019. So before I get started with the Bimmercode and using the Vgate that I always use for these, let's see. This is still, I'm using a Wi-Fi one, not the Bluetooth one. I'm still able to connect to the car and the Bimmercode app on this G05, which is the latest X5, essentially. It can connect. Some of the features it cannot do, I'll go walk through the video, but before I start, two things I gotta hand it to BMW for, the way they laid out the center console and the way they laid out the instrument cluster. Absolutely. I know back in 2014 or 2013 they started the digital cluster. A lot of people on the forums and stuff have upgraded the X5 cluster to the 6WB, I believe, which is a digital cluster. But this one looks amazing. It has the TAC, it has the speed, the digital speed, and in the middle it has the maps. Obviously this one does not have a heads-up display, so the map shows up on the screen as well. And then you can change the layout. So if you go in like eco, it's bluish. If you go into, and I'll put pictures afterwards, I'm sure, reverse the camera out. If you go in sports mode, it gets a little red and so forth. Also a lot more color lighting for the ambient lighting right out of the stock. You don't have to do so much coding or use the eSys coding to do it. Second thing that I want to talk about, and they added heated seats, but along with adding the heating seats, your center console, so your right hand, depending if it's a left-hand car in US or other countries, it's a right-hand car, your center console is heated as well. And then what I really like is, so if you look right here, which is your door handle, that's also like about half of this is also heated, which is super nice because you always will rest your left hand here. And I didn't notice until my buddy didn't even tell me, so I was driving it home so I can do this review, and I noticed that this one, my hand was getting warm, so I felt I'm like something wrong, and it turned out to be a heated armrest on the door handle as well. So shout out to BMW for doing that. Definitely it drives much nicer. Stock versus the stock outgoing F15, the older ones, does feel a little bit lighter versus nimble compared to the older ones. And obviously you can go look at the standard values for 0 to 60. I'm not going into that, and I believe this one happens to be a little faster than the outgoing one. But further ado, let's get loaded into Bimmercode app and walk through the Bimmercode app. Right now I have it loaded on my phone right now, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a screen share and I'll put it on the side of the video as well. Let me get the screen recording going. Connect. So a couple of things I noticed with this, since I'm using the Vgate, I could not do some modules. So since I hooked it up, it tells me the options it gives me is G30, G31, 38, F90, and from 217 and above. So it automatically reads the VIN and tells me the option. I'm going to select BMW X5 G05, 2018 and above. Click OK. It's going to connect. This might take some time. Seems to be faster than the F-Series car, so obviously the ECUs are newer and they're different, most likely programmed differently, mapped differently, so we'll see. But I know for a couple of them when I was testing a little while ago, it did not let me go into, I think it's like the advanced crash safety. It said I need to have the OBD link and the other Uniscan or something adapters to do that. But so you'll see if I go into advanced crash safety module, which is very up top, it tells me I cannot do this with my Vgate one, so that's okay. Then same thing for air conditioning. Actually, that does let me get into air conditioning, but there's not much in here. And also, again, this will all depend on the car that you have, the specs you have, and so forth. I believe for the 2019 X5, you get for the advanced, how it used to be driver assistance package or driver assistance plus package. I believe now with the driver assistance plus package, you get the blind spots, you get the advanced crash safety notice, auto braking, lane departure, lane assist, and then you can turn on the steering correction, which I noticed in his car. I haven't really driven this, from iDrive. It tells you, it beeps at you if you go over, but then it also tells you about if you can fix the correction with your steering and turn it on and off. So pretty standard air circulation settings in here. Apply auto. By the way, I'm not coding because he's not with me right now. I want him to know which ones he wants to do, and then I'll do it back. Most likely I'll do another video where I'll actually code this car, but this one I just wanted to review and see what options exist. Since he's out of town, give me a chance to do this. As you notice, the body domain controller, it says ECU not supported, so it won't even let me go into BDC at all. Formerly also known as front electronic module, FM. Camera-based driver assistance system, obviously you cannot go in there. I wonder if it's completely blocked by BMW or the software programmers are still working through these two. I can go into engine control unit. I wonder what's in here, so let's go see the options. Auto start function memory. So one of the things I definitely notice is with this car, which I know BMW fixed and are addressed in F15s and F10s and F-Series cars, they turned off the auto off feature 2014 and above. I think one of my videos I can link down below also talks about it. So this one is set to not active. You can activate it and go from there if you wanted to have the auto start some function memory memorized. Basically, right now, every time you turn the car off, you have to turn it back off again because it erases it. So I'm not going to code it like I said. So that was the engine control unit. If I go into head unit, again, I notice it has a lot less options, and I think that's also because the BDC is blocked out for now. One other thing that I noticed, I'll point out while this is loading the coding data, the auto hold feature in the car actually very nice, because once you turn it on, no matter how many times you turn the car off, lock it, unlock it, it stays, it's memorized essentially. So it stays on and you don't have to keep hitting it. In other F-Series cars, I know that you have to hit auto hold every single time you start the car. And I have not coded that in the other F-Series, so I can look into that for you guys as well. So head unit seems pretty standard out of the box. Acoustics for lock confirmation, maximum volume on startup, daytime running lights, which I know I already have it on the iDrive here, so I can turn it on and off. Start animation is set to default. We can obviously change it to M, Rolls Royce, BMW I, or Alpina, and so forth. Tire pressure control, and obviously you can also do tire pressure and temperature, just like in the F-Series car. One of the things I noticed, actually, this one has the option for one touch turn signal 5 times. I wonder if it'll work or not, so stay tuned. We'll do another video when I actually turn this feature on and go through there. One thing I noticed in here, the video codec to play the video on your iDrive via USB. There are 2 settings. F-Series had 3 settings, I believe. This one is video via USB, which is set to active. And then video in motion is set to not active. Obviously, you have to set it to active to make the video play. And then warning at startup, camera warning, and night vision warning. And those are all set to unassigned at the moment. You can not active or set it to whatever you want to. But for now, we're gonna get out of here. And then go into instrument cluster. So a lot less options that I see on here, but I wonder if it's because software developers are, for the Bimmercode, actually enhancing the G series or so forth or not. So I guess stay tuned, we'll figure it out. I'll ask the question too. And also might be because my Vgate scanner is older and then much newer car. So an instrument cluster, acoustic signal when reverse gear is engaged, set to not active at the moment. Display layout is set to BMW. You can change it to M layout or Alpina layout. That would be interesting to see what M layout looks like. Diesel logo, obviously don't want it. Fuel level warning, 30 miles and 50 miles, pretty standard. Can you turn it off? Yeah, you can turn it off. Actually, you can set it to not active, level warning 1 and level warning 2. So most likely you would set up the low fuel warning, which is set at 50. You would turn that to be not active, just like in the older models. And this actually lets me go into export mode. There are a bunch of parameters in here. I see the tank, and then I also saw somewhere the heads-up display, which I know there's no heads-up display on this model. But if there was a heads-up display, there are a bunch of different settings you can mess with in here. So let's get out of instrument cluster. Yep, that was about it. Power tailgate module, again, ECU is not supported. And then the last one that I see is roof function center alarm. Let's see what this one is. I know this one also has your standard alarm when you lock and unlock the car that controls it, but I want to see what else is on here. It's going. One thing I noticed is actually definitely faster loading each modules for the car. Even loading the initial VIN and the ECU settings was much faster. So again, it's talking about acoustic lock and unlock confirmation, confirmation sound volume, confirmation sound frequency, confirmation sound duration, alarm sound. You can change it to Europe, Great Britain, USA set to USA right now, so I'll leave it at USA. Also, this gives me option for expert coding in here. Basis parameter, not much in here. So looking at what I see in the ECU, there's not much that's on there. Obviously, the first two I couldn't do because I have the older model of Vgate or the OBD. And the other ones, BDC and camera base, are definitely blocked by ECU. The remaining are engine control unit, head unit, instrument cluster, and roof function. So I wonder it's just because of this car being base, or is it just the car is much newer. So stay tuned, we'll find out. I definitely want to go through and do some of the coding that's available on this car, and I'll definitely have more videos on it. So any questions, don't forget to please write down below. I'll be happy to answer and go from there. One last thing, I saw another video comparing the newer 2019 X5s versus the, I believe, GLE 350 or 450, which is the same comparison to this X5 space-wise. And I was shocked because the gentleman there talked about how the space in the back is not that much compared to the Benz. And I was kind of in a shock until I tested putting the car seats for the kids back there. Yeah, you might laugh at this, but one thing I test not is by sitting back there, but the car seat, because front facing, yes, rear facing, totally different ball game. And one thing I've noticed compared to the F Series X5, definitely has less space inside in the BMW, the new 2019, because when I put the rear facing, I'm sitting up front as a driver very tight compared to the F Series. It could be the seating. Maybe these are much thicker than the outgoing F Series, or not. I don't know. I know there's no third row on this one, so I could not move my second row forward and back. So that's definitely not it. And it's the same seat. So it's definitely, to me, I think there's a little less space, maybe an inch or so, 2 inches, but definitely feel it. But if you were sitting back there by myself, being a 6 foot, I don't think there's any problem. I think it's perfectly fine. I think it's just putting car seats. That's how I measure the room in the back as a second row. Any car, whether it's a sedan or an SUV, how much room back there is. Because at the end of the day, if you're buying an SUV, you're hauling people, right? So you need more space. And if you're going to put car seats, just wanted to throw it out there. Yes, there is enough space. I think there's enough space in the width-wise, but I'm talking more in a depth versus coming to the front seat. There's not that much space compared to the outgoing X5s. So guys, thank you. Stay tuned. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe to the channel. And everyone who has liked it so far and subscribed, thank you so much. Keep up the good work. Thank you.